Thanks to the power of modern communication, we have the ability to create technologies that are decentralized, removing middlemen and allowing users to interact with each other directly through a global network.
I always draw globalization on an x-axis. It's copying things that work, it's going from one to end, it's horizontal, extensive growth. And then I always draw technology or innovation on a y-axis, going from 0 to 1, intensive vertical progress, doing new things. So it's doing new things versus copying things that work. And there certainly is a sense that in a successful 21st century, we want to have both more globalization and more technology.
Vladimir Putin has recently endorsed the cryptocurrency known as Ethereum, which was created by a Russian and did get its funding from a Bilderberg member. So in this video, we're going to dig deep into the blockchain that is Ethereum. Move over Bitcoin, there seems to be a new crypto on the block. Now let me just start by saying that I've known about Ethereum for longer than anyone that I know. I first heard about it in March of 2014 when I interviewed Anthony DeLorio, one of the original 4 members of the Ethereum team, who at the time was telling me about the upcoming launch for this new exciting cryptocurrency called Ethereum. Never in my wildest dreams back then could I have imagined that it would go on to gain its roots with funding from Bilderberg steering committee member Peter Thiel, which would then subsequently go on to get an endorsement from Vladimir Putin. So let's break down what this is all about, how we got to this point, and what the implications are. Now, unlike Bitcoin, whose origins are clouded in mystery because no one knows the true identity of its founder, Satoshi Nakamoto, a pseudonym which was created to conceal his or her identity, Ethereum's founder, on the other hand, Vitalik Buterin, is well known within the cryptocurrency space. He's written for a number of Bitcoin publications, and most notably being the co-founder and lead writer for Bitcoin magazine back in 2011. He was born in Russia in 1994, and he eventually moved to Canada in the year 2000, where he would eventually become the creator of Bitcoin's largest rival, and he called his project Ethereum. But long before Ethereum came onto the scene, and even 10 whole years before anyone even heard the word Bitcoin, there was already a young entrepreneur who was hard at work developing software to solve a gap that he saw when it came to making online payments, and that man's name is Peter Thiel, and the company he established back in 1998 was called PayPal, and it sought to create a type of digital wallet in the hopes of ensuring more consumer convenience and security by encrypting data on digital devices. And it promised to open up new possibilities for handling money moving forward in the 21st century. PayPal went on to become a household name. It was considered a trustworthy piece of software that puts the control of how our currency is managed directly into the hands of the user. It wanted to change the world in terms of how human beings will transfer funds from one to another in this new digital age. But that was then. Technology moves fast, and Peter Thiel fell behind, because in 2009, Satoshi Nakamoto, the mysterious creator of Bitcoin, released his white paper on a system that he developed called the blockchain, which revolutionized Thiel's vision of a digital currency which would facilitate individual trades. Only Bitcoin implemented a system of decentralization with the focus on empowering the individual to become their own bank and/or banker. Bitcoin's rise in popularity has been nothing short of incredible, reaching a market cap of $45 billion at the time of the making of this video. And many have wondered, is this the creation of the banks in collusion with the government? A digital cash released with the endgame goal of total enslavement? Well, we know that economic terrorism is often their method of choice when it comes to enslaving the masses, but how could it be done with a decentralized blockchain? The answer is, it can't. But then along came a brilliant young man named Vitalik Buterin, who Peter Thiel found worthy of his Thiel Foundation grant of $100,000 because Ethereum, in the eyes of its initial investor Peter Thiel, is the fruition of his original vision. In other words, Ethereum is everything that Peter Thiel wanted PayPal to be. Only now that Peter Thiel is heavily influenced by the Bilderberg group, having recently been ordained as a steering committee member, the goal now is to get their fellow Bilderberg buddies on board in an effort to rival Bitcoin. Perhaps that's why we saw Ethereum soar after JP Morgan, Intel, Microsoft, and others formed a blockchain alliance. Ethereum is now the world's second most popular digital currency. Ethereum has been surging despite its embarrassing hack last June when some 59 million worth of ethers were stolen, forcing the blockchain to implement a hard fork to undo the damage, prompting many to wonder if some big announcement was imminent. It appears that yet again someone leaked, because on Monday, an alliance of some of the world's most advanced financial and tech companies, including JP Morgan Chase, Microsoft, Intel, and more than 24 other companies, teamed up to develop standards and technology to make it easier for enterprises to use blockchain code Ethereum, not Bitcoin, in the latest push by large firms to move towards the holy grail of a post-central bank world in which every transaction is duly tracked, a distributed ledger systems. So what exactly is the endgame for Ethereum here, and why is it now getting the endorsement of Vladimir Putin? And perhaps the bigger question is, was Vitalik's recent meeting with Putin worrisome to the likes of the Bilderberg group, or is this all going according to plan? We know that the Bilderberg group was instrumental in the formation of the euro, and it's because of their key members on the inside that we have fiat banking as we know it today, where fractional reserve lending is the name of their game. And it seems they have their hands in Bitcoin as well. In 2015, Blockstream, a business which builds Bitcoin sidechain solutions, was able to secure a venture capital round of $55 million, which came from AXA Strategic Ventures, and their CEO at the time was Henry DeCastries, who now just so happens to serve as the chairman of the Bilderberg Group. So where do you see this going from here? Is Ethereum Bitcoin's rival from a bitter Peter Thiel who wants to see PayPal on steroids and to appease the Bilderberg Group and to come up with a better Bitcoin? Or is Bitcoin controlled by the cabal and Ethereum is the real deal, a digital cash system made for and by the people, hence why someone like Vladimir Putin would want to endorse it? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And while I'm at it, let me ask you this. Have you ever heard any of this kind of information coming from the mainstream media? Have they ever talked about this cryptocurrency movement and also who are behind these things? Well, the answer is no, because we are constantly destroying the mainstream media by staying 2 steps ahead of them at all times. In fact, us in the alternative media are now becoming the go-to source of information for people because the old dinosaur media is dying and they recognize what's happening, and I gotta tell you, it's a beautiful thing. YouTube has attempted to slow me down by taking away 90% of my ad revenue, but that doesn't even matter because I'm on websites like Steemit.com where I'm averaging $50 to $100 a day and sometimes more just for posting there. And you can do it as well. It's truly a beautiful thing that you really should look into if you are interested in staying 2 steps ahead as well. So be sure to check out Steemit.com and don't forget to follow me there at @PressForTruth. And if you would like to contribute to our cause, you can donate some of those phony fiat dollars at the slowly dying PayPal link located in the description below. Or if you're one of the ones who's ahead of the curve and you feel like throwing us some Bitcoin, you can do so by scanning the code right here on the screen. So be sure to share this video if you found the information useful, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And stay tuned, guys, we're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth.